going on, everybody? I go by the name of Josh Bryant, and you're tuned in to Urban View, your number one home for hip hop, R&B, and the culture overall. Thank you so much for tuning in again. And today, I'm sitting down with Alaska's own, the one and only Brivon. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, amazing. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem, no problem, anytime. And it's crazy because I keep telling more and more people this is the power of the internet. I fell onto your music from IG and TikTok, and now since then I've definitely become a fan. So having you on is definitely something, it's really dope. So thank you so much for
Thank
agreeing to come on.
Of course, of course. Thank you so much for listening.
But all right, let's get into the first question I have for you. Again, I mentioned it when I introduced you. You were born in Alaska, right? And in
Yeah, born and
Alaska, when
raised.
we talk about when we talk about Alaska in the terms of R&B, that's a little bit rare because we hear artists from New York, LA, Chicago, Houston, but Alaska.
Mhm.
So, can you just talk a little bit about your experience growing up in Alaska and how it shaped who you are and also the way you make music?
Right. Well, so yeah, Alaska's definitely not a place that really is a name for R&B. It's not really a name for anything but like cold and igloos. But I was I was born and raised there all my first 18 years of life, and it's very much like also like a cultural blender. Like people from all over the world come there to start a new life and just and just to be a whole new person. And sometimes cultures get left behind. And in my case, I just came from my grandmother moving there, and cultures got left behind, family got left behind. So I just saw myself as a blank canvas. And I absorbed everything I could. You know, I could have been really sad that I didn't really have much of a culture or much of a background to work off of and learn from, but I feel like I kind of took that and used it to just absorb everything that I could and then figure out like who I was as a person. And I realized like during my darkest times, I would always gravitate to music and specifically like neo soul music. Like I feel like this is black people, like neo soul is like just a root for just like pain and love. It's like a root for everything. And I think I just found a home in it when I didn't really have a home. And so I really took that and ran with it. You know, I studied the genre and then, you know, the subgenres, you know, now we got alt R&B, pop R&B, we got so many different genres and I just admire it all. And so I realized when I listened to all my favorite artists from back in the day like Jill Scott, and I grew up on Brandy and Beyonce and Monica and all the greats. You know, R.I.P. Angie Stone, she was one of my favorites. And I looked at them and I'm like, that's what I want to do. Like the way they just work with lyrics and music, like that's something I could do, and I want to do it in my own way. So I just took it and ran with it, and I haven't looked back.
Man, that is definitely dope to hear, especially the part about you being a blank canvas and then being a sponge as well. And you touched on it because one of my favorite genres of all time is neo soul. Literally,
So good.
I've been on the Kindred the Family Soul kick like the last few months. Literally,
Ooh,
like I
okay.
got stars of far away. Those are my jams. So you brought it up. I gotta ask you, right, just real quick. What are
Mhm.
your four essential neo soul songs? It can be from any artist in the genre.
Jesus Christ. Okay. You said songs, not artists. Okay. Okay. It's hard for me to like pick one song. I can pick artists, and my top four off the top of my head. Of course, Angie Stone, Jill Scott, Earth, Wind, and Fire,
Ooh,
and I gotta throw in D'Angelo
okay,
for sure. Anything from them, like I'm not picky. I'll eat it all.
okay. That's dope. And I agree with you. That's a solid list right there. I got all them in my neo soul rotation for sure. And moving on again back to you, we already know one of the big things about you is that you're a queer R&B artist, and in this era, it's really become accepted for queer and LGBTQ plus R&B artists to really come to the forefront. So for you, how does it feel to be in an era that supports and uplifts the queer and the LGBTQ plus community, especially with artists like yourself?
Right. It's been an honor to watch. You know, I started making music back in officially 2021, and around 2023 is when I sort of took a break to just to figure out who I am and my identity. And from 2023 to even now, like the rise of just queer music, not just R&B, even like in pop and hip hop, has been insane to see. It was such a taboo topic. If you knew, you knew. If you heard it, you heard it. But to see it on such a mainstream platform has been such an honor to now that I can finally be a part of it and like just be prideful in that. Like it's one thing to listen to the artist and to relate to the artist, but to be able to be a part of like a movement like that, I'm just completely honored and just happy that it's being received well. And I'm just definitely inspired from everybody right now. They're going crazy, and it just gives me inspiration and motivation that I can do it. I'm doing the right thing. I'm heading in the right direction. So
That's awesome to hear. I was gonna save this for later, but since we're talking about it now, again,
yeah.
there's a lot of dope LGBTQ plus artists. Like, who are some artists in that genre that you're listening to that inspire you to keep going?
There's so many. It's really the women for me. Like, am I biased? Maybe, but K1 from the UK, she's doing it big for everybody right now. I just got in the talks with a new artist. Her name is Leia the Leo. She has been my favorite right now. Me and her actually hopefully have a collab coming soon.
Oh, that's
Um,
that's an exclusive.
and
We got an exclusive.
yeah, exclusive. I just got her DM'd, and hopefully it comes to fruition. I'm just manifesting through words. Um, and there's just so many, and they're so low key and underground. Um, and you just gotta find them. That's the hard part, is trying to find those artists when they're not already put on a big platform. And I'm still trying to find them too. And so by finding one artist, you're gonna find a whole bunch. But those two are definitely two people that inspire me right now.
That's dope. That's dope for sure. Now, moving on to the next question. Obviously, you talked about taking a hiatus and a break, but before that, you put out two dope projects, in my opinion, Adonia and Whatever Happens, Happens. So
Ah, yeah,
for
yeah.
you, and first, I got to just give you your flowers on that. I've off of Whatever Happens, Happens, Moon and All Alone are definitely two of my favorites off there. And then off
Ah, thank
Adonia,
you.
Last Supper, and You and You. Those are two of my favorites off of that project, right?
Thank you for listening. Jeez.
No, I gotta do my due diligence with things like this, especially with artists, because I'm a fan of music. I know my audience is a fan of
Yeah.
music as well. So, just talking about those two projects, how would you describe your growth as an artist from Adonia and Whatever Happens, Happens to now?
I would say the growth. I feel like when I made those first two projects, I was like a baby artist. I was a baby writer, a baby singer. I just wanted to get something out there that was like true to me and what I was going through. Adonia, that was like my Brent Fayez. Like that was my toxic era, just getting into the world and just winging it and just accepting who I am, like good, bad, and ugly. And I just put it out there and it was received pretty well. I kept it up with whatever happens happens. I think that was more like me coming into like young adulthood, being on my own, and owning something. And I think that's like I know Adonia is my baby, but whatever happens happens is really really my baby because I feel like from top to bottom I put my all in it, and I didn't really care about getting the PR and getting the songs out there. I just wanted to go out there, put it out there, and see who gravitates and have that release. And so now that I had a hiatus and still living my life, I realized like music really is something I want to do seriously. So just to prove to myself that I could still put out two projects and it still get received even if I don't, market or put too much money into it or do all the niche things. Like I proved to myself that if I did that with no money and still loved it, then that's what I need to do. So shout out to those ones though. I appreciate you listening, honestly.
Man, no problem. Again, for anyone who hasn't checked out those projects, it's definitely a dope listen. And another segue that you talked about as well, again, with the marketing aspect of projects. Nowadays, for artists, no matter if you're signed or independent, is so much of the business that you have to learn, not just the
Yes.
music side of it. So for you, what's been one of the biggest lessons that you've learned as an independent artist, still on your journey?
Jeez, no, it's so right. It's like everyone sees the musician and the singing and the art and the lyrics, but they don't see like people got to listen. But you got to put in the time and the effort and the money to get people to listen, and that's just how the world works. And I think now I'm taking that lesson very seriously with my new music. And the lesson I've been learning is I have to be delusional. Like, I'm not a delusional person, like to my core ever. I'm very calm, very nonchalant. I'm very just like, I cross my T's and dot my I's. But when it comes to stuff like this, you have to be delusional for other people to get it. You know, I know I'm a great writer. I know I make great music. I know that. But I can't listen to my song every day and run up 500,000 streams. And that's just real. And if I put as much confidence into the marketing, into the content, into the promotion as I do the music aspect, then it's going to catch on. People are going to see that confidence. They're going to see, oh, you're getting all these articles. Oh, you're getting all these streams, all this recognition. Is there something I'm missing? And so being delusional and already like, I'm going to get this, I'm going to get that, even if I send out these cold emails, or even if I just DM people, or even if I just network blindly with someone halfway across the world, I got to believe that what I'm doing is going to get me somewhere. Because if I don't believe in myself, nobody else is going to believe in me. So definitely been a little delusional this year, and I think it's working out pretty well. So I'm just going to keep the ball rolling.
Like you said, that self-belief, people call it
Yeah,
delusional, but I call it self-belief. You have to
I
have
like
that
that word. Yeah.
It's true though, because a lot of people, we've been conditioned to say, "Oh, delusion, delusion." No, it's self belief. I believe
Yeah,
in what I do. I believe in what people want to see or what they want to hear. All I need is just one, and then one will turn into five, and then five will turn into so much more. So I
exactly,
definitely,
exactly.
I feel you on that for sure. And then last thing before we talk about In and Die, you've been talking
Mhm.
about it a little bit throughout the interview. You had a hiatus for a little bit. You're back now. What was
Mhm.
the reason behind taking the hiatus, and how do you feel now after coming back after that time away?
Right, right. So when I was first doing music, I was towards the end of college, about to graduate. I took a hiatus. Let's just be real, money. This It's not cheap. It's not cheap. And so, going from graduation to, living on my own, moving cities, and learning to like love myself and learning to, adapt to my surroundings. I feel like in those 2 years, like, I needed that experience. I needed to go through that without the pressures of like trying to get out music. Like in those 2 years, yes, people like, where's music? Where's music? Where's music? But I just wasn't there yet mentally, I see music as a therapy. And I think it's a very natural thing for me to do. And so I feel like in those 2 years, it didn't seem natural to me. I feel like I had too much life going on to force out a single or force out content, or basically doing what I'm doing now. I just wasn't there mentally. I wasn't ready. And I feel like now after the hiatus, like now I have something to talk about. I have something to release. I have something to, an ode to my experience. But it was a well needed hiatus, and I also got my money up, so it all worked out.
Man, especially in this economy nowadays, I'm not gonna go too deep into it,
Whew,
but again,
please.
yeah. Look, if you got to step away to get your mental right, to get your coins in order, again, a lot of people can relate to that. So thank you so
Right,
much for
right.
sharing that about your story with the hiatus. But you also talked about finally having a story to tell. And now we reached
Hmm.
the point where your new single, And I mean,
Yeah.
this across some of your other singles, like you're a lover girl, right? Across your songs,
Yes,
but
yes.
this song, it takes us to another level. It's seductive. It's late night vibes. It's super smooth. In the words of Joe Thomas, you're basically talking about all the things your man won't do. That's what you're planning to do. So
No,
keep on
really,
keep on.
really.
So just talk about the inspiration behind and why was now the right time to release the single.
Ah, yes, and I. That is a song I never thought I'd ever write or ever put out to that capacity. Like even my old music, yes, it's all about love, love, love. I might have a little like sensual song, but to this level, it's kind of pushing the pen a little bit. And I even questioned myself whether like this is the song I need to put out. But when writing it and when, talking with my team about it, I was actually going through a very unsexy time in my life, to be frank. And so when the song came about, I don't know why or what made me say all those things, when I wasn't even feeling it. But I soon realized it was an alter ego sort of thing, Basically, like I'm used to being a liberated woman, doing what I want to do when I want to do it. But I hadn't been that in a while, and so I see the song as me telling my old self, like you're still in there, like you still got that in you. It's sort of me telling myself like I can do this and I can do that. Like don't let whatever you're going through right now change who you were. See yourself differently. And so yes, it comes off as a sexual song, talking to whoever, but from my perspective, from when I wrote it, is me talking to my old self and just making sure like, girl, you're still fine. Girl, you can still do all that. It's just not you right now. But that's who you've always been. So
Got you. And that was a really insightful story. I didn't even know anything about that when doing research for the single,
yeah,
because I've seen all the videos online about like the behind the scenes stuff and even the cover.
yeah.
Like it's like a certain energy that you got. Like you're like right behind the ear. Like it's close. It's up
Right,
close too.
right.
I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
so this is
that was all intentional. Yeah, I wanted, of course, first listen, it's gonna be a sexual song. Like it is the visuals I put out. I wanted everyone to gravitate towards that because in this world, that's what we gravitate towards too. But once I got everybody hooked on the song and the visuals that are coming soon, more visuals coming soon, it's gonna change the story and be like, but I thought this was about this. Get people to re-listen to it with a different perspective. So it's all part of the plan. It's all part of the plan.
well, that was a really interesting hook. I'll give you that. It's an interesting hook for sure.
Okay, I hope my mom never finds the song, man.
It's too hard because that's another thing too. The song has been blowing up. A lot of platforms have been showing love. A lot of other publications have been showing you love. For you, how has that experience been? Especially again after taking the hiatus, having this story to say finally, like for it to be
hmm
received this well. How has that been for you?
It's been really reassuring. I think with any artist, we all question whether we're going to be received properly or not, whatever we put out, because it's our hearts, And I was very. It felt like my birthday on release day. I was like, whoa, whoa! I didn't think like people would actually take the time to listen. Like, I've been promoting it and putting out visuals but you never know if that actually equates to like real love and real reception. So it's really been heartwarming to see and definitely some reassurance that I've been needing that I'm doing the right thing. And again, even with you, I appreciate you even taking the time to talk to me and just, give each other our flowers.
Man, anytime. And like I keep telling you, I'm someone who loves good music. So for you
Yeah.
to keep giving us good music, and this is only the beginning for you, I'm just excited to be talking to you as well. And just
Ah, thank you.
positioning it to the future. Again, this single and Die has been getting so much love. How will this single kind of translate what you're going to be doing next musically, and what can fans be expecting from you for the rest of 2025?
Right, right. I feel like now I got this momentum going. I can't stop. I already got songs in the vault, and me and my team are just figuring out what direction we want to go. How many more songs to put out. The visuals. I literally just had a video shoot yesterday. The content's even behind the music is still coming, and I'm trying to get maybe two more songs out by fall. And I don't know about a project, but we're just gonna see where it all goes. I'm very much I live in the moment. Yes, I plan, but I love living in the moment. And if things change, things change. But whatever I feel, that's what's gonna come out. But it's always gonna be good music coming out, no matter what. So
That is definitely the priority and the goal. I feel you. Because, I asked that question at the end about projects and projects and projects. Because
yeah,
honestly, a lot of times with these singles, shortly after, a lot of people have projects. But the one thing that I've learned
yeah.
from talking to you is, again, your journey of discovery, your journey of finding yourself in your own time. So if you don't got a project,
Yeah.
that's fine. But still bless us with another
Right.
single or two. Just bless us with another single.
Always, always.
And I cannot end this interview off without mentioning your viral moment on the Ellen show. People called
Yeah.
you Briyoncé. And I'm just gonna ask you this, right? I know
Hmm.
this is Cowboy Carter season. Everybody's getting their cowboy gear ready. Everybody's trying to figure
Right.
out the best seats on TikTok. For you, if somebody asked you for like $500, do you still know that routine? Hands down. Can you do it front to back?
Honestly, once I see the $500, I think the muscle memory will kick in. Absolutely. I really do. Like that's just the dancer in me, and the $500 don't hurt either.
But just for those who don't know, just you were on the Ellen show in 2018. It was such a big moment for you. What was that experience like? And in some ways, how did it prepare you for this moment now in your career?
That definitely was a crazy time in my life. I was freshly 18, new to the world, just moved for college, just a little girl in my eyes. I was still a little girl, and I was just thrown into like one of the biggest stages at the moment. And it definitely put a fire in my back when it comes to just putting out work and just always being myself. Before I even got on Ellen, I was always making content. I was always posting videos on Instagram. I was always dancing. I was always doing that since I was little. And so to see, you know, just somebody pick it up and take it to the moon, I know that no matter what I do, even if they take it to the moon, I still can do it myself. And that definitely catapulted like my creativity and my openness to the arts. And I always carry that with me, even though as sometimes cringy it is looking back, like well, that was like what, like 7, 8 years ago. Ugh. But it's like I want to be who I am without it, and I'm beyond grateful because I networked so well. It opened my eyes for being a small town girl, and it's definitely something that I definitely take with me every day. And I even with my music approach, like I just don't care too much. I do it for me, and if it's received, it's received. So
Say less, say less. And, just to put a bow on things, if you had to tell that Brivon one word to describe the life that would happen after the show and just everything that you're doing now musically, what would that word be? One word.
ooh, one word. I thought you were gonna give me a sentence. No, one word.
If you want to do a
Jeez.
sentence, do a sentence. What would the sentence be that you would say to your younger self to describe what would happen and where you are now?
I would probably say, girl, you got a life ahead of you.
Mm.
You have a whole life ahead of you. This might seem like the biggest thing that ever happened in your life right now, but it only gets better and it only gets worse. But if you just keep what you got going on right now, you're going to be fine.
Got you.
Yeah.
Like they say, it does get greater later. So I definitely
Always.
appreciate you sharing that. And before you
Yeah.
get out of here, what are ways that people can follow you online and support? What are your socials? How can people connect with you moving forward?
Yes, my Instagram and my Twitter are I'm Brivon, IMBRIVON. On TikTok, my name is what is my name on TikTok? Brivon. That's just my name twice. But yeah, you can find me anywhere. My link trees are all in my bios. And if you see these locks, yeah, you found the right one.
Speaking of art, so then another quick thing too. So I was trying to
Yeah,
do my locks, right? But then I had to cut
yeah.
them off. So for you, do you like experiment with your locks? Because I see the color green right now. Are you gonna experiment with another
Yes.
color soon?
I always experiment. So every year since I think it's my third year, something like that. But ever since I've had locks, like I either get my hair dyed once or twice a year. I started off with blonde, then I went ginger, then I went red. This originally was blue in the roots and then black at the bottom, but it just faded to green all over. So I don't know, but I just always have to do something. I think for this birthday I want to go back to blonde, but I kind of want to do pink. But I just love experimenting. I just make sure like my hair's healthy enough for it, and then I just go crazy. So
Got you, got you. But again, Brivon, thank you so much for stopping by Urban View.
Thank
I
you.
truly appreciate it, man. It really
Thank
means a
you so
lot.
much. No, thank you for the time. I really appreciate this.
No problem. Definitely, you're welcome to come back anytime. But I'm gonna get you out of here. Thank y'all so much for watching Urban View. Be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, peace.